Hey guys, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Welcome back to my channel. So here I am back in my Love Letters planner for the week of January 4th. Now you can see this part has already been prepped and I've already done my practice here. I filmed this originally and this video was way too long, so I've split it into two parts. And what I'm doing here, we're actually following two challenges. We're going to be following according to Allie's challenge, and I'll link her YouTube down below, as well as Heather Cal's challenge for lettering. After doing the first video last week, I realized that I really want to get down to the basics, and Allie's lettering challenge does that. So I split this video into two parts. This is part one, where we catch up on the first letters A, B, and C, and then from the 4th through to the 7th, we'll split it into the letters for Allie's challenge, and then we'll also do the words for Heather's challenge. And then I will release part 2 of this video, which is the second part of the week. I will release this on Thursday. All right, so let's get started. One of the things that I mentioned last week was tracing pad. Tracing pad is actually really good if, for example, let's flip to this week here. You're finding that this is not enough space for you. You want more space to practice. So the tracing pad, I bought this at Michael's. It's just transparent paper and it kind of just looks like wax paper, but you can see how I've used this to practice my strokes and like practice them over and over and over and over again, and it just makes it like I did a lot of work in here. So you can actually buy this tracing paper at Michael's, and what I'm going to do is actually tear this page out. I didn't rip that very easily. Tear this page out, and what I'll end up doing is I'll actually punch the holes for the discs in here and put it in. I might cut off the edge a bit so that it actually fits in here. But you can take tracing paper if you want to do more than just what's here, and then you get more practice with it that way. All right, so I'm actually going to cut this out and put this in here. Just one sec. So now I've gone and actually cut the tracing paper down to size and then punch the holes for the disc so that you have extra tracing paper in between each sheet. So now, if you guys aren't familiar with either Allie's lettering challenge or Calva Plan's lettering challenge, basically with Allie's, she is starting off the year with letters, and it's actually a really good basis to start. And I'm gonna ask you guys, actually, did you guys get a chance to practice these basic strokes? If you're not happy with your progress with that, go back to that first video, which I will link below, and then you can keep practicing those strokes. So the first few days of Allie's lettering challenge, so on January 1st she started with the letter A, January 2nd, letter B, January 3rd, letter C, and then so on and so forth. So we are a little behind on that. So what I'm going to do, this is why I'm going to use this tracing paper, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do the letter A, B, C, and then the 4th we'll do letter D. And the way that I'm actually now going to do this is I will do the first line of Allie's challenge, and then down here will be Heather's challenge, so that you can see both of them. So I'm going to pull up Allie's challenge here. So what I'm going to be using is my Tombow Fudenosuke, am I saying that right, guys? Hard tip brush pens, and I'm going to be using gray this week. So I'm going to flip this page over here and then zoom in for you guys. So in Allie's challenge, the first letter, what I'm going to do on this tracing paper here is we will do the first 3 letters, A, B, and C, of Allie's challenge. So I always struggle with capital letters, really struggle with capital letters. So with the letter A, gosh, I'm nervous even doing this now. The letter A, like how would I, capital A, and then the lowercase a. Can you guys see that? Yeah, gray works really well actually. Now with the letter, so another way to do it is stroke down, up, and then I like that as well. Again, different ways to do it. And then the small a. And actually, I really like the way to do that capital A. And I love the tracing paper because it is actually quite soft. So this is the letter A. So letter A, the capital A, you start off with a downstroke, go up, downstroke, over there. And then with the smaller case A, you start kind of like 3/4 of the way down, up, over, there we go. So do that a couple more times. And this tracing paper, I'll see if I can leave a link below in Amazon, but you can find this tracing paper at Michael's. Like, how cool does that look? So that will be letter A. And I feel like I could certainly do more practice with this. So January 2nd was the letter B. So the letter B, there's different ways to do this as well. But with the letter B, and like I struggle with capital letters, so this is actually perfect for me. Okay, so there are, again, different ways to do it. So there's one way to do the capital B, or you can start from the top and then go round. Again, so many different ways to do it. But if you work on the basics, then you can start to work on flourishing your brush lettering. And then the smaller case B, I actually start from down here. And I love small lowercase letters better. So really I start from about middle of the lower quadrant here, lower half here. Light stroke up, downstroke, round, there we go. So I'm going to practice those a couple more times here. Perfect. Oh, I love that. And actually, I really love the look of this on tracing paper. So the next letter in Allie's challenge was the letter C. I want you guys to also focus on the letter C. It kind of is similar to the way that we did the letter O last week, and very similar to the letter A. So letter C, you can make it really curly or anything, but really it's very basic. Very, very, very basic. You can add, like, you can stylize it a bit if you want, but really very simple. One of the things I also do is you can add the little thing beforehand, or the little curl, I guess, beforehand, but letter C is very simple. So starting from here, thin stroke up, downstroke, and then up again. So it really is working on the pressure. And you can make this as big and fat as you want, or as narrow as you want. That really just depends on your style. Perfect. So those are the first 3 days of Allie's challenge, where she really looked at A, B, and C. So now what I'm going to be doing, I will still use this tracing paper, but what I'm then going to do for the actual days of the challenge, now that we are caught up, is I'm going to do the first line in Allie's challenge, and then the third line onwards as Heather's challenge, so that you can follow along with both. Alright, so now for Monday, 4th of January, the, I guess, next letter in Allie's challenge is the letter D. And this is where you can, I guess, really work on stylizing your letters. But if you want to just work on the basics, the letter D is really starting at the top, downstroke, and up. Whereas the smaller D is like letter O, and you can either just do it straight down like this, or I also love stopping there and then kind of doing a loop like that. So there's definitely different ways that you can do the letter D. So the big D once again, and then the small d. I'll try to do both because it really depends on your style. I'll take this paint out because it is easier. What about you guys? Do you prefer a specific style? Do you like something that's extra, I don't know what's bouncy. I think that's the word. Something that's extra bouncy. There we go. So letter D's up here. And then down here will be day 4 of Heather's challenge. So day 4 is the word tradition. Wow, that's a toughie. The word is tradition. So you start with a big T. The R, the A, whoops, D, the I, another T, another I, O, and then an N. Yes, that is a tough word. That is a tough word. So if you guys feel like you have the basics and want to step things up, then yes, go ahead and follow along with Heather here. So I'm going to do a few more on my tracing paper just to get a bit more of a handle on it. And then I will see you guys in a bit and move on to the 5th. Alright, what do you guys think? I'm going to move this so you can kind of see how, I mean, tracing paper is great because you have the ability to practice as much as you'd like. So for Allie's challenge, with the letter E, there are a few ways to do it, but for me, it's like a little, that is very stylized. So then in terms of the actual smaller cases, this is why I prefer the smaller cases. I like the bounciness of the smaller letters. Or you can start from down here. There's different ways to do this, but I really like starting in the middle of the lower . There we go. So downstroke, downstroke, and then to connect the letter E, you've got the last part of the capital E here, and then just connect it with like that. Did you guys see that? I don't even know all of the technical terms for these. I'm just like that little swoosh. But when you're finishing a letter, there's always that little tail that's left here. And that's where you can lift up your brush pen, and then that's where you can start with the letter E. There you go. All right, so that is the letter E. I will do one more for you guys. There's definitely different ways you can do this. Now for Heather's challenge, if you guys are challenging yourself, for Heather's challenge, the word for Tuesday the 5th is refresh. So letter R, the E, letter F, R, E, S, refresh. All right, so I'm going to do a few more on the tracing paper, and then we'll move on to the 6th. So that is Monday the 4th, Tuesday the 5th, and now we're on to Wednesday the 6th. I'm going to change pens here. For Allie's challenge, I keep laughing at myself because I'm like, what is the next letter? But for Allie's challenge, basically the next letter is the letter F. But the letter F is really a combination of two different things. The letter F is really, you start up here, and then you do a downstroke, and then the second part is there, letter F. Another way you could do it is basically the same, but then lift up here, there, and then the third way is to connect them both. So there's definitely different ways you could do the letter F. And then in terms of the smaller case F, this one I love. I love the smaller case F because you can start from either the bottom and then work your way up. So this one requires like going into the next line here, but you can start down at the bottom here, thin stroke up, downstroke, up, and out. That was very slow. You can do this as slow as you'd like, but sometimes the little speed kind of helps the fluidity of the stroke here. So I'll show you how I'm going to do this, or how I normally do this. I start up here, do a downstroke, up, and that. Practice this a few more times here, but definitely this is more adding my style. So really, if you want to really start with the basics, start at the bottom, work on the thin upstroke, then downstroke, there. We want to also focus on this area up here to make sure that you don't have, that is balanced, right? So I'll try that one more time. There we go. It looks fuller, but there's more balance in the stroke up here. So I'll try a couple more capital Fs. Perfect. And then throughout the week, I will go ahead and start practicing on there too. Wow, I really like that. And actually, this paper in itself becomes a little bit of a work of art. And then in Heather's challenge, the word for January 6th is celebrate. That is another tough one. So, making sure that you guys can see. Move this up a bit. There you go. So that you guys can actually see what I'm doing. So the word celebrate. I have to spell this out for myself as well. So starting with the letter C. I think one of the things that I'm hoping, I'll help you guys cover in this challenge as well is how to connect your letters. So there's the word celebrate. I'm going to do a few more on my practice paper here, my tracing paper. And then if you guys want, while this part is going on in the background, you guys can keep practicing your Fs if you're not ready to move on to Heather's challenge as of yet. But if you feel like you want to challenge yourself, absolutely go ahead. So celebrate. All right, so that is the word celebrate. Gosh, I love that. So go ahead and practice that a few more times if you'd like. And actually, this is what's great about tracing paper in conjunction with the love letters, is that you can practice as much as you'd like and you won't run out of any room here. So tracing paper, perfect. So the next letter then for Wednesday, gosh, I don't even know what date it is. Thursday, the 7th of January, is the letter G. So the capital G looks very, very similar actually to a lowercase g, but it's just on a slightly bigger scale. So the, oh, what is that? So for the big G, start up here, then stroke up, all the way down. And there you go. So you're combining two different things here. So it's like you're starting off with the letter C, then go all the way up, and downstroke like this. So like the top half looks like a letter C, and then the bottom half looks like a letter Y. And then the lowercase letter feels like it has three different parts as well. So you can start with the upstroke here, and then you actually lift your pen and start here for the circle part, similar to the letter A, and go up, and then downstroke there. So really three different parts. The, I don't want to call it the tail end, I guess, and then the circle, the O, are very similar to the A, and then the downstroke. So I'll do that a few more times here, and then I'll do a few more on the tracing paper as well. So for the big G, again, it does look like a really big version. Duh, it's the capital letter, big version of that. So start off in the top half here, about halfway through the top half. So creating a letter C, capital C, and then the bottom there. Let's do another lowercase. And it is absolutely okay to lift your pen between strokes. There we go. And then the letter G again, the big G, and another lowercase. There we go. All right, I will do a few more on the tracing paper. Let's move this up a bit. So do a few more on the tracing paper. I'm trying to get the most out of this tracing paper because that way you're not using up all of the planner all at once. So let's make sure that's there. If you guys can see, line this up. Again, it's not going to be straight, but whatever. So I'll go ahead and do a few of these, and you can watch this over and over, and then I'll come right back. Alright, so that's the letter G for Allie's challenge. And then if you are following along with Heather's challenge, the word for Thursday, January 7th is resolution. That is another tough one. Alright, so let's do that. Resolution. I'm just going to check to see that you guys can see what I'm doing. Perfect. So, resolution. R, E, and I always like to make my S's big and swoopy, and we'll cover that later on this one. Tough word, but I'll go ahead and do a few more here with this tracing paper. So resolutions. So starting again with the R. Perfect. All right, so those are the first 4 days of this week here. And again, this is why I think it's so important to go back to the basics. This is what I've been thinking about all week, is that going back to the basics is so important because these words were tough. They were tough. So I highly recommend getting tracing papers so that you can do way more practice than the space in this book allows. And And that is part 1 of this video. I hope this was helpful to you guys. I will leave a link to the tracing paper if I can find it on Amazon down below. Otherwise, you can find it at Joann's or Hobby Lobby. Really, really easy to find. Otherwise, but that is it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Part 2 will be released either on Wednesday or Thursday, and then you could follow along from there. If you like this video, please leave me a thumbs up, and if you have any other comments, please leave them down below. Thank you so much and have yourselves a great day.